Hello, welcome to the Ruling Podcast here on the Firearms Radio Network, presented by Primary Arms. So there's a stranger we ain't seen in a while. Nice stash.
It's my Top Gun stash.
I see that. My goodness. So how you been?
Pretty good.
What you been up to?
Oh, mostly working. Got a couple new firearms and such since last I seen you that we'll have to talk about at some point.
Yeah.
Three-gun season started back up, so I've been doing a little bit of that.
Yeah. That'd be Buckeye Rooster targets.
Yeah.
So there you go. Hey, Jim, you're on the wrong side of the show. The hell? So what's everybody else been up to?
I just got back from South Dakota.
What was you doing in South Dakota?
I was kind of shooting little prairie dogs.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah. I think, does this come through? Anything come through there? Did I share that screen or not?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
Didn't come through.
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Got it.
Yeah. That's one of them little prairie dogs there.
Little destructive bastards.
Yep. You can see the mound back there and everything else, and it was a nice time. I think I haven't counted brass yet because I haven't been back to my house yet because I'm at my younger daughter's house right now because it kind of it's a long drive, and I think I got about 1,000 rounds to reload.
And what was you shooting them with, Paul?
I had my 223 out, my 6XC, 22 250, and my 308. And the 22 250 and the 6XC probably went through most of the brass. That was most of it because targets were a little far out there. You know, averaging about 350 yards or so. You know, and some longer pokes out there too. So 350 to 550. So overheated
That's quite the stretch for a 2.5-inch wide by 6-inch tall target.
Yeah, well, that's what the fun part is.
Yeah.
It's I can't guarantee you that I hit over 50%, at that range, especially on the windy days. But close ones, I'll kind of bought the farm, and the farther ones, it was closer to 50%. You get some, you didn't get some, but that's all. Play in the wind.
Sounds fun.
It is. Got to get you guys out there sometime.
Yeah, I got a brother that lives in Rapid City, and he knows quite a few people we could go do that. Just haven't done it yet.
You got to do it.
Yeah.
I'm getting. Yeah, you got good stuff out by you.
Yeah, we got a bunch of, we call them whistling pigs, and then rock chucks.
Yeah. Those are fun ones.
Yep. I just haven't. Me and my buddy usually go the week after Memorial and go shoot them, but I'll be doing something else this coming weekend.
What are you doing this coming weekend that you're not going to be going shooting whistle pigs?
I'll be going to a match, just a local match, getting ready because the weekend following we've got the High Desert 3-gun shoot in Parma up by Boise, Idaho.
Yep.
So kind of using this next one to kind of like practice, getting us more set up for the 3-day shoot.
How's your 2011 running?
It's running pretty good.
Good. You figured out the magazines yet? The 170s?
They have seemed to be working fine this year.
Great. Got the gun broke in finally, huh?
I guess. Yeah, I haven't done anything to the magazines. They've just been running good.
That's a good thing, though.
I do have to cast up some more 147 grain projectiles and get them powder coated this weekend too.
Ah, there
Good
you
on it.
go.
Yay.
Yeah, so in the chat they're talking about primers and asking if anyone has seen.
Like these?
Yeah. Jim, are you getting yelled at in the background?
For these?
No.
Yeah, you are.
Or how about those?
Yeah, it looks like we know where all the primers are.
I've seen some primers.
Yeah, we've seen, very few and far between, and they're between $80 and $90. I've seen them up to $120 for 1,000, and most places will let you get 1 to 200 at a time when they do get them in. So what was it, 2 weeks ago, one of our local gun shops shown on Facebook that they got in a big shipment of all primers, and they were stocked. I mean, they had probably 20,000 of each, large pistol,
Yeah.
everything, small pistol, everything. So they opened it at 9:30, and I happened to be up in that area, and I thought, I'm going to swing in there. This gun shop usually was selling 1,000 for 120.
Yep.
I said, I'm going to swing in there, see what's up. When I got there, the parking lot was pretty packed, but there's a little breakfast restaurant next to them. And I thought, a lot of these have to be going to get breakfast, not stopping in at 9:30 for stuff here at the gun shop. But no, it was everyone was there for the gun shop. And I got up to the door and I opened up the door, and that's where the line started. And they went in a snake through all the aisles just for the primers, and they had a little bit of powder too. So by the time I got to my destination of primers, they were all gone, and you can only get one box. Didn't matter, SKUs. You can only just get one box. Didn't matter what, but you could get one box of primers, 2 things of powder. And I didn't get any primers, but I thought, I'm not going to leave empty-handed. They had a couple pounds of Varget, so I grabbed 2 pounds of Varget, and off I was. But I was really hoping to get some small pistol primers because I am on my last 1,000.
How you doing on small rifle primers?
I'm on my last 1,000.
Oh, on rifle primers. Okay.
Yeah, rifle primers. Yeah, I've got 4,000 or 5,000 small pistol.
Oh, okay.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, and I just ordered 16 pounds of tack that came on Brownells the other day. So I did get 16 pounds of that ordered. So Michael is asking how much did I pay for a pound of Varget, and I want to say it was $45 a pound.
Yeah. Well, he had hazmat fees and everything else coming in, even at wholesale. So,
Yep.
Yeah. And if anybody sees any H 4350, I could use 8 pounds. There's IMR out there like crazy.
So I want to say I have 2 pounds on the shelf I'm looking at.
That's my 6XC powder is H4350.
Yeah,
So-
I loaded up some 6.5 Creedmoor last night with that.
Uh-huh.
I think I had some IRMR, but not some H. Sorry.
Yeah, I got both. I got 2 pounds of each.
So anyway, so Nick and Ray, what you been up to?
Not a ton really in shooting and reloading. Besides, we went to Kansas City, took a lot of my sister's stuff over. She's moving over there for work. Went to the World War I Museum while we were over there. Incredible museum. Anybody I say get the chance, it's worth it going. That's all I can think of.
Nice.
Oh, we did go shooting late last week.
Yeah.
Went and shot the G43 and my L1A1. We were having some issues the previous trip out, so we went and figured those out. My L1A1 was giving me fits again, but we ended up figuring out that it was a little pin that holds the gas tube in. And what is there in the front? There's a little notch that allows gas to come in, and then it spins, and it kind of cuts off the gas. And that pin had fallen out, and it would spin. And when we would get gas, you could tell it was erratically thrown brass. So we figured that out.
Yeah,
that's about it.
Got the G43 gas piston regulator working good.
Yep,
the
got that gas
kit,
piston. Started another project. Hopefully that'll be finished. It's at the engravers currently. Getting some stuff done to it, and then hopefully filled out some paperwork for some friendly friends in DC and give them some money, and then just sit in wet jail. So
Yep. You getting another SPS?
SBR. I got an SBR project I'm working on right now. So
Oh, nice.
I'm working on a Stenmark 5. So
Ooh, that'll be fun.
Anything else you can think of?
No.
So,
hitting around looking for powder and primers, but that's...
yeah. When we've Travis, he's seen them for anywhere 80 plus. When we've seen them here locally, we've been right around 70 normally. Yeah. When we see them.
When you see them.
And I've been seeing powder right around $30-$35 a pound. The last couple I picked up. So
yeah, we have a local store. I don't know if you guys ever heard of it. It's called Cal Ranch.
Nope.
So they have, for some reason, through this whole thing, I don't know if they had primers stored somewhere, but they've had primers pretty regularly, but you could only get one a day. And that you didn't know what they had on the shelf. You just go and ask them, and they'd say, yeah, we got some. What do you want? And it was usually small Magnum rifle or small pistol Magnum, but you could only get one. But they were, which still is expensive, but they're $5.99 for 100. That's the best price I've seen.
It's $60 a thousand. That ain't bad.
No, that's the best price I've seen in years.
Yeah. Because even pre-COVID, they were, $6-7 a 100. So, Fleming.
But excuse me for clearing my throat. I got something here.
What you got?
It's important. Thank you. Anyway, what I got here, Travis probably recognizes it already. What I got here is something we made in my shop where I work. It's a target frame. Two 2x4s go in these holes right here.
Yep.
Where my chin is, the long board goes in there. It's a target support.
Okay.
This is a bracket for the target support and all that. And well, I was going to take and throw it out there a minute ago, but I didn't want to ever. Travis. It's been a long time since we've had him on the show. Anyway, speaking of pretty, that's powder coat, guys. That's powder coat.
What
Hot
the
gloss,
fancy.
black powder coat.
Fancy.
How long do you think that's going to last?
Till some idiot shoots the hell out of it. It's only mild steel.
Yeah.
But, no, it's for the gun club. They asked me if I could do something with it. It's a short. I'll see. Take a look. And we made four of them actually to make two sets of target support frames and all that.
Nice.
I kind of figured Travis recognized it as soon as I held it up. Travis, I apologize to you because we didn't buy through you. They bought the stuff before I even knew it was in existence in the gun club.
That's okay.
So that didn't charge them anything, but no, it's not okay. I wish I would have known that Ben was going to buy. I would at least throw your name out there. Anyway, that's what I did. I did quite a bit of the work myself.
Awesome.
Including making that little gusset in there where my fingers are.
Yeah.
That's
a 60-degree triangle. So the legs are 60 degrees.
So does it look like you have some holes drilled and tapped for some set screws?
Not drilled and tapped, just for holes that for
some nails.
Drywall screws or nails. Probably knowing the gun club, they use nails. They do everything they can on the cheap.
Yeah.
Well, it's a gun club, you know. The idea is not to spend money. The idea is to take and hold on to everything, keep it going as long as it can. But to be buying lumber, I know that. We all know that. But God only knows how long the steel will last.
Yeah, so like I do stuff for gun clubs, and it's hard because, like, let's say I sell some targets to, like, let's say you guys, and you're an individual. You'll use it X amount of times per year, right? A gun club, however many they have members they have in the club, that same product gets used in a day, could be used more times than you as an individual will shoot in the year.
Absolutely.
So stuff on gun ranges it doesn't last as long as you would think.
Nope.
And still all of that 2x4s especially, it's all consumable parts.
Yep. And
then you'll always get some guy out there, you know, AR 500's pretty stout stuff, but you get a guy out there with, you know, a 22 250. I remember when I first started making targets, I took I'm pretty sure it was a 3/8 plate, and I don't think it was AR 500. It could have been, but I remember hanging up some steel and was testing out some different stuff. And I was shooting this steel plate with my 22 250, and I thought, oops. Oh my gosh, how am I missing this steel plate? This thing is my rifle is right on.
Oops.
And that steel plate is right there. How can I be missing it? And I went down there after I was done, and I wasn't missing it. It was going straight through that steel like it was nothing.
Absolutely.
It was going so fast that the steel plate didn't move at all. It just stood there, and you could see like a laser beam. It just burned right through it.
Well, Travis, you stop and think about how much energy is in that projectile as it goes through that steel, how much it would take.
Right. Well, here's what a lot of people forget about. So let's say you have whatever diameter. Let's just go 224.
Sure.
Let's throw that out at 4,200 feet a second, just like your 22 250 does.
Yep.
Go to the same same velocities, but let's up it to like a 308 or something. People in their head think, oh, because that projectile is bigger, it's going to do more damage on the steel. It's the opposite. The smaller the projectile, and it's all about speed, but the smaller their projectile, the harder it is on steel.
That's right. I've seen it myself. We were shooting at 1-inch thick steel, and that takes a while, even at 250 to penetrate through. But it'll burn through it if you keep hitting it long enough.
Yeah, it craters it up pretty good. And
Yep. I mean, yeah, that's stuff you can't even handle with heavy gloves on once it craters up well.
I expect not. So Jeff Kuiper asked a question in the chat that I thought was kind of an important thing for all of us. It says, do you guys have an exploded parts breakdown for every firearm you own, just in case there's an issue? So for me personally, technically yes, but technically no. I do have a Numerich parts catalog from, unfortunately, it's a few years back, so it's not completely current, but I think pretty much every firearm I have is in there. But then also, there's a way to get breakdown off the online too if you have the availability. And so, how about everybody else?
Same here.
I don't have any real, a couple. Yes, I have a couple, but most of the stuff I can take apart without too much of a problem and know what it is. What's a difficult firearm to take apart that doesn't, it's what I ask.
I think I've got
online
one.
has always been the greatest thing to research and find out if you had an issue. Just it used to be you could search anything you wanted on YouTube, and somebody had a video on whatever firearm you wanted to tear apart. There was always a video out there. Nowadays, not so much.
One of the biggest problems I've ever had with my firearms is learning how to take my bolts apart to clean them. That's something that just isn't done. You take the bolt out of the gun, you wipe off the outside, you might oil it a little bit, but what about that firing pin channel?
What about replacing a firing pin or the spring?
Exactly.
I mean,
Exactly.
I know how, I change my firing pin springs once every 3 or 4 years because you get better consistency out of it. But it isn't hard to do, but learning how to take it apart, well, okay, for a Remington 700, it's a piece of shoelace. I mean, and then pull the bolt and it unscrews. Winchester Model 70, put it in the middle position of the safety and unscrew it. It'll just come right out. So as long as you're able to pull the cocking piece back, you can take most bolt actions apart. If you understand that, certain extractors have to come out certain ways or be riveted in there, and how to take a pin out for the plunger on a 700 or a Model 70. That's
Hold on, Mike. Hold on. Excuse me, Paul.
Yeah.
Hold that up again, Mike. That looks like a decapping pin with a. Never mind. I know exactly what it is, Mike.
03A3.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
03A3.
Except for this one's just an 03.
03. It's just 03.
Same thing.
It's the same thing.
part.
Yeah.
Yep.
Same part.
But yeah,
But
literally just unscrews from the back.
Yep.
Right. And you put the safety in the middle, and then it comes out.
Yep. So
It can get pretty difficult, like on some of the old military rifles, if they didn't make a ton of them, but they're all pretty close to the same.
Right.
There aren't very many differences. Firearms hasn't really changed dramatically in 300 plus years. So
Yeah. Like all your bolt acts, pretty much same.
yep,
Uh,
semi-autos are very
a
similar.
FN based semi-auto.
Yeah.
All the bolt systems are pretty much the same. I
Yep.
mean, it's
Right. And you're looking at just a couple of things. So really, do you need a lot of it? I don't know. It looks nice if you got one of those rubber mats to take your gun apart on or whatever.
Well, I kind of have fun. I have the app on my phone. I don't know if anybody's ever seen where it's you get to, like, for instance, the M1 Grand. You can literally kind of play with it and take every single part, the gun apart, and it's down to all the pieces.
Nope.
Mhm.
It's just kind of interesting to have sometimes, and if you're wanting to kind of refresh yourself without getting the gun out of the safe and doing it, you have everything right there on your phone.
That's nice.
Mike's right.
Yeah.
Numerich does a really good
Yeah.
job because they probably got,
90% of most parts.
if not most of the ones. I haven't
Yeah.
found one yet they don't have a diagram for.
Well, there are some of those. Like, I think I have one that they don't have a diagram, but they only made 6,000 of the guns.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, it's I like them because they have weird stuff, so
mhm.
it makes things easier to do. When I was looking at changing a Winchester Model 70, a post 64 model push feed, changing the caliper of it, the problem was the magazine was too short for the next cartridge that I wanted for it. So I looked up and got a new bolt stop from them and put that in, and then a new floor plate. So there's lots of things you can do, by going online. If we lose our online presence, though, we're going to have problems with, getting replacement parts.
Amen, Mr. Nelson.
So
That's why it was so important to support the Second Amendment.
right.
Every aspect you could think of that, because I'm sure there's somebody out there. Never mind. This isn't a political show.
Well, the other way too is learn how to make some of the parts.
Yep.
I mean, it's
Good example.
That's but going to your question, think to yourself, do you really need the fully exploded drawings and detailed way to strip it down? Because most of it's pretty simple.
Paul,
I mean,
there's
yeah.
a guy on the internet. I forget his name, but he has a bunch of these. Forget about those instructions. Tear it down. Figure it out. Be a man.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There
That's
you
like
go.
going back to my L1A1. We knew the pin was missing, but we're not going to go and buy the pin off the internet and wait 2 weeks for it to come in. It's good to hold you on to a pin set of all sorts of different sizes. You find one that's close. If you got to file it down a little bit, file it down. Try to make stuff with what you got work. So,
And that's a roll pin, if I remember right, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's
well, it was a true pin, but we made a roll pin work. There's no
Yeah.
there's no stress on this part.
and I can get the pin locally.
Yeah, we had a roll pin set on hand, but there's no stress on this part of the gun.
Yeah, we're not going to war.
No, it's
Well, the nice thing about a roll pin is it locks itself in.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, that's one of the nice things about it, because of as you drive it in, it compresses and then it wants to stay in. So there's ways to get around things like that.
So I got my kid. He's going to school to be a machinist. So
There
I'm
you go.
hoping whenever I need stuff, the kid will be able to help me out in the future.
There you
He's
go.
also
Have
on
it.
the side. Mike knows this guy. He's working for my buddy Larry at his machine shop, making actual parts and stuff. So
Mhm.
Just make sure to school your son into keeping his mouth shut about what he's making.
well, he shouldn't be making illegal stuff.
Nope.
But
There's nothing illegal about a firing pin for a bolt action rifle.
Nothing illegal about a firing pin for a fully automatic rifle either. Firing pin has nothing to do with it. It's the receiver that has everything to do
Yes,
with
sir.
Right, you are.
it. So,
And actually, not even necessarily the receiver.
right.
Yeah. Trigger and sear most of the time.
it's about
Yeah.
intent. You can have all the parts. It's about intent.
Travis, this one's for you.
Yep. Thanks.
Thanks, John.
So, Mike, what's on the agenda for tonight?
Switching cartridges in a 550.
You mean changing calibers?
No, cartridges. Because caliber would be like 30 or 40 or 50 or 70 or, I'm going from 9mm to 223 Remington. So I'm not switching calibers, I'm switching cartridges. Because there is a difference. But unfortunately, a lot of us, and I'm guilty of it too, call it a caliber when it's not a caliber, it's a cartridge.
Guilty.
So,
Same here.
because like in 30 caliber, you can have 30,
06.
yeah, 300,
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's kind of one of the things that, I mean, we all do. I still do it. I still have to think sometimes and stop and go, oh yeah. I'm trying to get better at it, but so awesome. I'm going to see Jonathan on the 25th of June. Yay. At GunCon, Grinnell, Iowa. So anyway, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to take and I don't know if that's going to work or not.
A little farther.
Yeah, it's not going to let me turn it. Bastards. So, yeah, there we go.
Oh.
So we're going to take this and change it from 9mm setup to a 223 setup. There it is. All right. So and we're going to try and do this all in the middle of having some extra fun. So, full disclosure, in case I disappear on a moment's notice,
Don't tell us, Mike. We already know.
this is my beverage for the evening. So yeah, I get to do that fun thing that 45 and older get to do tomorrow. So anyway, so gang, let's see if this camera will stay put. More importantly, will it reach? All right. Okay. So we're gonna change this over.
Sorry, Mike.
What's it? I was gonna say we're gonna change this over. What are our basic steps?
First, safety.
Okay.
Get rid of the powder. That is, put it back in the original container.
So what's the easiest way to do that?
Take it off, pour it out. Do a powder funnel back into the original container.
So
So
I've got the original.
the easiest way is to have a quick disconnect from Entirely Crimson, where you could just pull that powder hopper right off and dump it back in the original container. But if not, you could pull out that tool head, Mike, and dump all that powder right back into the container, and then you could actually manually cycle that a couple times after you empty the hopper, because there's going to be some remaining powder in that that hopper there, actually.
So, for those of you who don't know, I don't know if you can see this right now or not, but we'll take a zoom in. This is just a one-time look. So on a 550, these two pins hold the tool head in, and to get the powder dispenser out, easiest way to do it is move that up a little bit, push this little white bushing out, and then that lever comes out. So now I got the lever disconnected, pull my two pins, set those somewhere they're not going to run away, because those are very important. And then the whole two head slides out. And then the tape isn't necessary, but Dillon's nice enough to include it. And it kind of helps hold that in place. But then I can pop that lid off. And dump that right back in the jar. And then what Travis is talking about is holding it over it and then working that back and forth a couple times. It never works quite as nice as when it's on the press. So, but we want to do that to get the rest of the powder out, which we've now succeeded in, other than the stuff that's stuck to the side, which is why they say don't leave powder in these things, because as you can see, there's quite a bit stuck to the side. Now, see, I don't have one of those fancy cool two-head holders. If I did, I could take it and set it in there, and then I just send it to sit there and chill until next time I need it. Since I don't, I'm just going to set it over here on a shelf, or in this case, right now, on the dog crate. So, now the nice thing is this rod does come out, so you can do that too. You can take the rod out and it makes it a little easier. All right, so I got my lid back on my powder here. Get that out of the way. All right. So next up, so I've got this thing called a conversion kit. This is an important thing that you need in order to switch cartridges on your Dillon. It has a new shell plate, new pins, and new piece for the powder drop. Kind of important. Now, the other thing with these, so here's the powder drop not attached. This one I've never used, so it's just when I'm sitting around. But you need to change out from the pistol, which is the smaller one, to the rifle, which is the larger one. And how do we do that, kids?
You're going to pull that white, right there's a pin
Right there.
holding that in. You pull that straight out.
Little pin.
Set that aside. Don't lose it.
Nope.
And then you can see where Mike's got, there's like a little protrusion with a silver bolt. Other end, I was going to show him first, Mike. The other end's, that's your adjustment knob, and that's actually your adjustment slider. Up top is just a spacer. So Mike's going to pull out the spacer right there. And then right below that is the actual powder bar that you adjust for discharging your powder. And if you notice, there's that little on the be your right hand side, there's a little notch. So that is on Dillon specifically. There's a little white plastic bushing that sits inside of that powder bar. Yep, right there. And when a case pushes on your die on that funnel, that's what you see moving back and forth, is that mechanical linkage moving back and forth to pull the bar underneath and fills that bar up and then discharges your powder. So when Mike puts that back in, his thumb's right there on that slot. He'll line that up with that plastic white bushing, and you have to get that in there, otherwise it won't work right. And some guys I've seen, they don't notice that that little white bushing falls off. So then they put everything back together, get running, and things aren't running right, and they can't figure it out. And it's because when they tore it apart, that little white bushing fell out, and they just didn't notice.
Now, one of the things I am doing is I do have this fancy little knob, courtesy of the fine folks over at Titan Reloading. So what this allows me to do is turn that nut to adjust how much powder is coming out. So that's a little time saver. So this is kind of set, but there's one thing else I got to change on this, don't I, Travis?
Well, I don't know which that funnel you have on there. I'm not sure which funnel that is, but you'll have to
9
switch
mil.
that funnel out to, I don't know what conversion kit you got there, but
So basically what I have to do,
if that's a rifle conversion, it's inverted.
that needs to go in there.
And show them real quick, Mike, the funnels. So that one like there, it looks like a male funnel for the pistol, the 9mm, and then the one for the 223, it's inverted the other way, so the case goes in and pushes up against it. The
Yep.
pistol ones are those actually can flare your case if you set it up right. So sometimes with those, you don't have to have a separate die to flare your pistol cases. You can actually use that one that Dillon has.
And that's what is in the case of the 550. The tool head I just pulled off, that powder dispenser, is set up such a way. So there is one of the many things that the fine folks at Entirely Crimson make for this wonderful press is a quick connect there that's literally spring loaded. You just pull it and it allows it to come out. So what this does is that sits in this notch here, and it locks it in place. Now what I need to do is I need to get that out. So what I do is literally just turn it upside down, and you can see this one a little bit different in size because it does have that flare on it. So to flare the case mouth. So now that's in there like it's supposed to be. We'll put that back in. And for the most part, you can finger tighten these, which is what I usually do. That way, if I want to take it off, I can.
Mike, can you work about an inch and a half to the center? Thank you.
Okay.
You're out
Yeah,
of camera now. There you go.
I'm watching this screen now to pay attention. So otherwise, you can torque these down with the Allen wrench that's included. No real need to. So now that's kind of staged and set up. I obviously have to take the instructions out of there yet, but we can set that off to the side for the moment. So now we've got another tool head, and they only go in a specific way, because if you put it in backwards, it doesn't seat fully. You get a little gap here. So, and there's lots of different companies that make these. So put your pins back in. So one of the things, this is not going back in, by the way. I forgot to show that, because this is designed specifically to hold this in. So what you can do is just put it right in that, and that way you don't lose it. And then have a good place to set those so they're not lost. So usually when you get the press, you get a bunch of stuff to go with it. And one of those things is a little die box that you can put all your little tools and stuff in. And so that's usually where you can store these. So this is the one actually from the 600 or the 650. So it comes with your ends, replacement ends for what you guys will get to see in a minute, which is your primer filling rod. This right here, bonsai. It also comes with the Allen wrenches. Comes with your small and large primer press. That sits right there. So what we need to do now is we need to change out the shell plate, right? Right. So that's that right there. And it sits right here. So what we have to do is we have to remove that Allen. So you grab the one that you think is right, which is usually wrong. Because why would you guess correctly in the first place, right?
Did I see you trying to remove that screw from the top?
What screw?
The shell plate holder screw.
Yeah.
Did I see? Yes, in there. Did I see you try? Okay, you just were showing us where the screw was. I was about to take a fit. You put any torque on the screw, and I will take a fit.
So how do you get it out then, Jim?
Set screw in the center, left side of the ram. Raise your ram up a little bit on the left side of the ram. There's a set screw hole.
All right.
I believe it's 1/8 inch. Travis, correct me if I'm wrong.
See, that's why we're doing this, because I've actually not changed this out ever. I set it up and that was it. So
If it's not 1/8, it's 3/32.
no fun. Anyway, so what Jim's talking about is you can kind of see it
just
there.
barely see it. Mike, if you raise your ram up a 1/4 inch, you'll see it. There you go. That hole right there is what I'm talking about. There's a set screw in that hole.
Yeah. So that's the one he's talking about. Now, sometimes I play dumb to play dumb. This was one case where I didn't play dumb to play dumb. I just didn't know. Because like I said, I set this up once and then didn't do anything with it.
Well, that's why I warned Mike not to do that, because I knew he'd do damage if he did. And that's enough to make a grown man cry.
I suspect so.
What you would actually damage would be the threads on the shoulder bolt that holds the shell plate on.
Yeah.
Takes a lot of,
do you usually back the screw all the way out?
Nope. Just loosen it up.
Okay.
Maybe one turn. That's at the most.
And so then theoretically
that should loosen right up. Because that's what actually holds the tension on the screw. Is the set screw in the side of the ram.
You still gotta use an Allen wrench on top, Mike, and take that set screw out on top.
Okay.
Another little sneaky trick, Mike. Raise your ram all the way up, and you can drop your Allen wrench down through the top of the die plate, the die head. You can drop the long arm down. Yeah, there you go. Long arm down through and stick it right in there and just spin that screw right out. If you ever find the hole.
Put some hair on it.
I knew somebody was going to do that. Mr. Nelson, shut up and quit laughing.
Mr. Nelson's muted because he was breathing heavily into his microphone. Yeah, but see, the problem is it's torqued too tight, so I need a little bit of leverage. So we're going to move it back down here a bit. because that's why they make Allen wrenches the way they do. So you have a lightweight.
Mike, if you're still fighting with torque on that, you might want to back that screw off on the side a little bit more. You don't have to take it clear out of the rim.
You got any long T-handle wrenches?
No, I wish.
Okay.
I don't know. I had a set, and they were kind of, well, it was kind of a cheap set because it was basically it used a plastic. Wow.
That shouldn't be that tight.
Screws all the way out now.
That's not the problem. It looks to me like the problem might be corrosive action between the shoulder bolt that holds the shell plate and the ram itself. When you get done, wire brush those threads out real good and put some never seeds on them.
So. Yay. So everybody talk and come up with some filler while I'm doing this stupid thing. Because this is longer than it should normally take.
If it's in your way, Mike, raise it back up all the way and take that shell plate out or the tool head out.
Yeah.
Travis is right. Taking off the tool head. I couldn't think of the proper name. Tool head is the proper name.
Well, if I really wanted to do this quick, I'd just go grab my drill quick. That'll get it out real quick. So, but.
There's no way in the world that ram should be holding that screw that tightly.
He put red Loctite on it one time.
I hope not. God, I hope not.
No, actually, I didn't.
Travis, you're terrible for thinking such of evil thoughts.
No, he didn't. He used rock set.
Maybe Arkwald had it done in there somehow.
Well, maybe he ticked off one of the boys and they came down and put some Loctite on it.
Anything's possible.
It's like, I'll show you.
Well, it's starting to come out now.
Yeah, that's the thing I hate when I have Allen wrench sets, and I got Allen wrenches all over the place, and that's one thing I hate is how many Allen wrenches you actually got to have when you're reloading.
So here's the dumb thing. I don't see any corrosion on them threads.
I agree.
Weird.
Well, when you get done, before you put that shoulder bolt back in, please put some never seeds on it. Yeah, I know. I started to slip.
That pulls off.
Yep.
And then your shell plate comes off. Be careful of that detent and ball. And then you take the pins, because the pins aren't always the same size. And then you find your case for your other conversion. And you put everything in your conversion kit where it belongs. Always save these.
So do not eat desiccant packages.
That's why I said
Folks,
save. I didn't say eat.
Just so you know, the easiest way to do one of these caliber changeovers is just buy another press and set it up and leave it.
That's if you have Travis money.
Paul, do you have multiple presses?
I have lots of presses. You know, yeah, just buy another press. Why not? You know,
No.
you guys aren't limited to one
I
gun,
had
are
4
you?
single stage presses.
So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely a case of definitely getting more than one. So,
Yeah.
So this comment on the screen, it says, I'm always learning on this great channel, and tonight I learned never get a Dillon 550. Just stick with the single feed presses. And
That helmet came all the way from Iceland.
yeah, I don't agree with that. I think progressives are any kind of progressive is a great press.
Thank you for your comment, Mr. Sigurdsson. We do appreciate it.
So then this goes in. And then that goes back on.
Hey, Mike, is the shaft of that shoulder bolt dry?
Yep.
Put some oil on it, please.
I'll have to go get some.
Yeah, so GGW Reloading, he has two 550s, and this is actually the proper way of doing it. Have one set up for large pistol or large
there we go.
primers, and one set up for small primers.
Yep.
That makes life a lot easier.
I've been working on a 550, getting it set up to do precision reloading, and with Armanoff tool heads, with floating die stations and everything else. So, it's fairly simple. It's just, a different way to go about it.
See, as I'm starting to finger tighten this back in, it gets all stiff again. So
You're talking about the bolt, right?
yes, talking about the bolt, smartass.
So, and you don't have a quarter-inch driver to drive that.
Nope.
So ever since I came on the podcast, you guys know I've advocated for progressive reloading.
Mhm.
I think progressive reloading is good for anybody from experienced all the way to new guys. I think it's an awesome way to go. In fact, if you saw that Hornady, the red press that was on the screen, I was set up to show if Mike wasn't able to show his stuff, I was going to use that to show you guys. But the reason I have that is because that press is set up with large primers. So if I want to do my 308 or 45 ACP or anything like that, that press is all set up for large primers. I don't have to switch anything over. Like on my 1050, it's set up with small primer feed. And if I want to switch that over, it's a little bit more involved because you got to switch more stuff out than what Mike's showing here. It's more involved. So a lot of guys do, if they have one, like Mike, he has that 550 GGW reloading. He has two. And if you can afford it, that's actually the best way because then you can keep one set up for large primer and one set up for small primer. And then it's just as easy as switching over your tool head and your shell plate and off you go.
Even primer switching on the 550 isn't that hard now.
No,
the
not
old,
on.
the 650 was harder, but
Yes.
now with the 750, they went to the 550 type priming system. So, I mean, you're talking 2 Allen screws. I mean, come on, you just take out 2 Allen screws and drop your new primer head in there and switch out your tube. Ain't that difficult. But
yeah, these presses, yes, in that situation, yeah, it's a lot easier. But there is some other presses where it is a real pain in the butt.
yeah, definitely, yes. But I was looking the other day at it, and if you're going to reload more than 2 calibers on a 550, it is almost cheaper. In fact, it is cheaper if you go to a 750 now.
So what I was doing there is I was getting the tension set right.
Okay.
It still feels a little weird.
You don't have a bearing on that one, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's better. What happened? There's a little ball bearing on here, so as you rotate, that shell plate has holes in it that's then lock in, so you know it rotated. So here's the other fun part, guys. It's got pistol primers in it. I can't use pistol primers in my 223, so.
Well, you can. You just get a little gas leakage. That's all.
Well, you know.
So you can just dump them out. You know, put them in a glass jar.
Yeah, not the same glass jar I'm drinking out of right now.
No.
Also in a 35 millimeter plastic film can.
If I had one. So now that we're looking at the primer assembly here, what's the easiest way to get those primers out?
Take the tube off.
Yeah. Take the primer assembly off. Take the two bolts off off underneath, and just take it off, and just drop. I don't know how many primers you got in it, but you know.
I would put something under it to capture the primers in case you drop it.
Where's your sense of adventure?
I've dropped many a primer, Mike. Doing what you're doing right there.
Ooh. So. Looking to see if I got anything around here to catch it with. It's a problem.
They won't drop straight out, Mike, if you take it off that way. There is a pin underneath them that carries the weight of all the primers. Careful, careful.
Yeah, I know.
There you go.
Detach that little spring there, folks. And now that's not flying back and forth like that. See, this would be the point where I wish I had a helper. Because then but what I can do is I can set that like that. Kind of balance it. Figure out where I put the Allen wrench.
Now hold on to it, Mike, closely, because that's where it gets critical.
Yep. So I got a bucket. We got one bolt out. I'm kind of cheating the system, though, at the same time here. Because I have this.
Don't push it forward.
No, I don't want it very far forward.
No, you don't. Because that will open up the primer drop.
Yeah. So what I've got is I've got that there holding the primers. And I can set that off to the side.
Careful how you tip that.
Oh, I know. So you can take a little cap off the top. Pull your rod out.
Tube. Is it empty?
Well, yes.
Good. So you know where all your primers are. They're inside. I can't say it, but that's all right.
I couldn't either. So
you know where your primers are now.
So now it's just a matter of getting them come out. And usually when you tip it at a slight angle, some of them
There
will
you
fall,
go.
but usually you wind up tipping it over the other way.
Yep.
So
I have done that. There's nothing to make me cuss faster or louder or longer than oh, Mike. I saw at least 5 fly the wrong way.
Yeah, I know. There's more in there that I wasn't expecting to be in there.
Nothing will make me cuss faster,
Primers?
longer, louder than throwing 100 primers on the floor.
Yeah. I didn't have that many, so it was good. Have to pick those up later. But but this is kind of one of those things that when you get it apart, you want to look at this and see how much crud and grunge you've got built up around here. Kind of clean it off a bit.
Lots of primer ash.
Yeah. All right, so nice thing is it's the same. I don't have to change out. Now, if I had to change out and go from small primers to large primers, there's a set screw in here, and then this comes out. This is for the 650, so this isn't the right one because the 650 actually threads in and it's stupid. But there is another one that goes in here that just drops back in and sets with the set screw.
My conversion kit actually had 2 primer primer carriers.
Okay.
Now, those are what I've adjusted to get a deeper primer seat in those.
Yes, I
Right.
have too.
Yep. So set that back like that. And slide that back in. Line up your bolts. Figure out where you set them when you took them out. Which I don't remember where the hell I set them.
In the
Oh, I
bin.
put them in. Yep. I was going to say, yeah, I put them in the bin. And then the biggest pain is making sure you get this plate back in and aligned like it's supposed to be. Because it's got the 2 slots that fit around the screws. And if you don't get it in there just right, your screws won't go through. What some people will actually do with that is they'll actually pull it out, get the screws started, and then slide it in. So, especially if you have problems getting the screws started. You just get them started a little bit and then lift this whole mess up, slide that plate in like that, and then see how it's now firm and even because it's where it's supposed to be. Don't hook the spring back up yet.
Yeah, I was going to say for the primer carrier to align it correctly before you tighten everything up, you want to drop the pull the ram back down and put the primer delivery. Yep, that puts it right in the hole.
I'll make sure it's in the hole.
Yep.
So,
Got to have that hole in one.
if it's not in the hole, what do I do?
Push it forward. Push the primer slide forward. You should be able to line it right up.
There we go. See, it was shifted a little bit.
Yep.
So, you got to make sure that's all fun. And then give it a good old-fashioned valve cover torque. Anybody know what a valve cover torque is?
Torque it down with the short end arm of the screw.
Nope.
Just snug.
Finger tight, then a quarter twist.
I'm sorry, I said short arm of the screw. I meant short arm of the Allen wrench.
So notice it didn't move because I don't have a piece on there. This little thing right here goes back up into here.
Get your camera up a little higher, Mike.
So that slides in this wheel here, in that wheel there, and then it slides in like that. So the idea is that it pushes it out, it'll pick up the next primer and run it back in like it's supposed to. So this needs to go back in, and it goes in a specific way, because if you look on the bottom here, you'll see it's got a notch and then it's got a hole. Well, there's that little this screw here on the other end of that is a little thin part that sits on. So if you don't put it in there right, you're going to have feeding problems. So there's only one way to really make sure, and that's to look. So you run your ram up, and then you kind of peek in there, but we need more light. So I don't know if it's going to show up or not. Someday I'll get a fancy camera. See if it'll work. So I don't see the tube. So if you don't see the tip of the tube, it means you didn't get it in right. Then you look down. And you'll notice this goes towards the back, or towards you in this case. And now you can see the tip. And the reason I point that out and show that is because when I did it the last time, I didn't have that right. So then we take our cap, put the cap back on for now, just so that stays put, because we'll get back to that later. I do believe this is going to be a two-part episode there, gentlemen. Because it's
that is a very good stopping point, Mike.
It's an hour and 15 minutes in, and
you've got at least another hour of adjustment to go.
Yeah, we haven't even put a die in it or anything, so I do think that we will definitely stop at that point. The one thing that we need to do yet, though, is your pins. So your pins go at station 2, 3, and 4. Why not 1, you ask? Because 1's where you slide the brass in. So, and the pins are different size depending on what you're using. You can't just use the same pin over and over.
So these are what, number 3s that you're putting in?
These are actually, yes,
number 3s.
Yep. Now you will find that there are certain calibers or cartridges that do use the same, like 9mm and 223 do use the same, because the head of the case is pretty similar.
It's close, right?
Yeah.
And
it's close enough for government work, as we like to say. So once you get your brass slid in there, you can see this little paper clip essentially that holds that in instead of the pins. If you put a piece of brass in here and you need to take it back out, you just slide that over. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, what you can do is this. and it falls. So
Let me interrupt you for a second, Mike.
Yep.
Michael Dunn, those pins are shaped like a thumbtack almost. And the other thing is too, Mike just showed you what the pins are for. They're to hold the cartridge in the correct position with the shell plate so that the operations can be correctly completed. Yep, shaped like a thumbtack.
so
And it bumps up against the head of the case and holds it in proper position and alignment.
I have big fingers, so I use those little plastic lifting things to
yeah.
put on my pins.
So I'll show what the pins actually do. So as you rotate it through, the pin keeps it in place at each station. So that's what the pin does. Now, normally there's a catcher here, but because of this mount and all that, I haven't really gotten serious about figuring out how I'm going to exactly mount that because it involves drilling holes and stuff. And plus, I don't remember where the hell I put the thing. So that's the other thing. But there is a bracket that's made for the 550. And it sits along here. I think on the actual 550s, it actually uses these two bolts to hold it in place. But then there's a acro bin that goes here. So when it kicks it out, the acro bin catches it. So.
Yeah, it's got a chute on there. It's got a chute and there's a notch
that comes off there right here. Yep.
Right. And there's a notch in there for your handle in that. So
that's the first part of getting this set up.
Pot number one.
Yep. So the tedious part is the next part. So that's why I'm kind of stopping here, because from here on, it's either tedious, monotonous, repetitive motion, or it's tedious, monotonous, die adjusting up and down, trying to get them all set right. So that's kind of why we're stopping here. So.
Be honest, Mike. You're giving yourself a week to figure out how to take and mount that discharge chute on that strong mount.
No, because since I put this on the strong mount, I've loaded 3,000 9mm.
I believe you.
So I got good at catching. Yeah. Yeah, I got good at catching. So, because I basically just do this. I'll just hold my hand here, and as it falls out, I catch it and then drop it in the acro bin. So
that cripples you, Mike. That cripples you. Your production will go up by at least 20% if you were to put that thing on there and let it drop into the acro bin from the discharge.
I'm sure it would, because then I could be putting another piece of brass on here instead of catching that crap there.
Exactly.
So
you'll figure it out, bud.
Yeah, I just got to find out where it is, but that is at this point in time not a important thing. Look,
we'll get you set up with Alpha Academy's brass feeder for it.
There we go.
It will do 223 plus pistol calibers.
Huh. I'll have to look into that.
And it's about $150, which is not bad.
No, it's not. So that'll be for down the road.
Yeah.
Okay, gang. So that's that. We're going to do a couple. Oh, by the way, the gray that you saw, the gray here and the gray there, that's all graphite, powdered graphite. So a very important thing to put on there. Saves you a lot of headache with stuff catching that shouldn't be catching. So anyway. I'm off to Patriot Patch Company. Because I haven't gotten the new patch yet, so I wanted to show. Wait, what?
Excuse me. It's not due
Never
till tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's still May.
So, speaking of May, come on, you slow ass computer. That is May's patch. Come on. Someday. Anyway, the words that I'm trying to get focused is never forget the price of peace. And it's got the poppies down. So that is the current one.
I just realized that goes back to the Flanders Field poem about in Flanders Fields where the poppies grow.
Correct.
Hey, Jim, if you go to the World War One Museum in Kansas City ever, they have a cool where they show Flanders Field with the poppies. It's incredible.
Say that again, Nick.
So when you walk into the World War One Museum,
Ah.
there's a bridge that takes you over to the rooms where all the displays are, but down below, about 30 feet, they have what's set up like No Man's Land and Flanders Field and all that, and it's nothing but like poppies.
God.
It's chilling, but very cool at the same time.
Those blood red poppies.
Mm-hmm.
What else was the poppy used for?
Tell us.
Morphine.
Heroin.
Morphine.
Morphine. That was,
but you're talking about the opium poppy,
right? And that it's still a red It's still a red poppy, and it's that was one of the reasons why that the poppy was popularized because of the morphine for the troops that were suffering.
Okay, I got you. I'm always concerned about in my head about the negative connotations of the opium.
And the Milsurp duo need to take a trip to Cantigny up here in DuPage County.
So here is the new June patch of the month. Sorry for all of you who were staring at me, looking at my screen, trying to figure out what the heck was going on, because I was trying to share the screen and it wouldn't let me. So I did it a different way. So as you can see, monster truck with a rather large rocket underneath it. Some a Roman candle, some bottle rockets, a Saturn missile battery in the back, and it's an RC truck, so a radio controlled truck. So they kind of stuck with their theme. Last year they had a drone. So that's the new patch coming out. So wanted to show that off.
So you can see my boy is actually looking at all the patches we got.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, mine are all in a drawer because I don't have anywhere else to put them at the current moment. So, yeah, the reason for bringing up Patriot Patch Company in the first place is they are a show sponsor. Thank you for being the bandwidth sponsor. Thank you for supporting us for so long. Make sure you support them. second sponsor for the show is Primary Arms. Make sure you support them as well. Swing by. If you buy a Primary Arms optic, use the code FRN to get that base for free. And actually, the guys over at Twig, This Week in Guns, we're talking about, if we're buying stuff from Primary Arms, we should just put the coupon code in for everything, because then they know where we came from. So, and those of you who want firearms and stuff and don't want to pay for it all right away, Primary Arms does have the I guess financing option through Credova, so you can buy stuff and then pay partial now and pay part later. So, and if you use that, you can get entered for a chance to win 15 grand. So, their May giveaway is almost over, but it is a Springfield Saint. But they do a firearms giveaway every month. They've still got the Memorial Day sale. It's almost over. If you scroll down on the page, they've got the new arrival stuff going on. Different new things came on. They've always got a clearance section, and they've always got good stuff. So all sorts of different options for you. If you want to build a firearm, this is a good place to go. If you want to build an AR, because they've got both AR-15, AR-10 stuff. So Paul Loud said he's still using your card, Travis. So thank you for not resetting that one. Oh, Travis, it's definitely awesome to see your smiling face again. We've missed you.
Miss you guys.
Is art class over for the summer then?
No, she's getting into summer art class. They're just taking, I don't know if it's 2 weeks off or just the 1 week off.
Yeah. So, alrighty. We can take you when we can get you. So, and Travis is still putting stuff up on the Instagram page, so make sure you check that out. And I'm going to start putting some more stuff up. So, Travis will be back next week. And so that press that he's got sitting there in the middle, that's a Hornet A lock and load AP. We're going to kind of show you the difference on die setups with that one versus the Dillon 550, kind of as an advantage and a bonus. I'd show mine, but mine's in the garage, so it can stay there for now because it's set up to load 380, and I don't even own anything in 380 right now.
That's almost as bad as 40.
Well, that's what this one's set up for. So, anyway, getting better at being ammo and supply. Powders coming a little bit. Primers are coming a little bit. Ed, the reason is he's not at home. But we're still working on solving that problem too. So, and yes, Paul, people still shoot 40 short and weak. So I do occasionally when I get a chance to make it to the range.
Really?
Yeah. I own
That's almost
two.
as bad as me shooting a 45.
I own two.
As do I.
Eventually I'll own three because I got to get a Glock just to get a Glock, I guess. But
why do you want to own a staple gun?
just because.
Just to get people like you pissed off and excited.
Paul,
I have a G22 upstairs.
I have two of them, and they run just fine.
So I've got
They're staple guns. Of course they're going to work. I mean, but there's nothing to them. There's no personality.
That simplicity. Paul, you know what the KISS principle stands for.
Yeah, that's
Keep
what a
it simple.
45 is. That's what a 1911 is. That's a simple.
Yeah, 1911 isn't simple compared to a Glock. Glock's got 33 parts.
34. Get it right, schmuck.
Look, it doesn't matter how many parts or whatever. God made the 1911.
Mute that boy, will you, Mike? Mute that old man.
Everything else was made by the devil. Okay, God made
John
God
Moses
made
Browning
the
lives
1911.
again in reincarnation, otherwise better known as Paul Nelson. Shut up, Paul.
Oh, I love a good Glock versus 1911 argument.
God.
Look at even Jesus had, said that the 1911 was the way to go. Okay,
He did not. Don't you misquote our Savior.
I what do you mean? Colonel Cooper said that the 1911 was the way to go.
You're
Oh,
calling him
what's
Jesus.
Travis going to grab?
I think Travis is just walking out on the discussion. He don't want nothing to do with it. And I can't say that I blame the boy.
Oh, he went to grab something. What'd you go grab, Travis?
Well, since you guys brought up 1911s, our buddy Larry
Yeah.
made me something.
What'd he make you?
Showcase. Presentation case.
No.
Ooh.
No, the case isn't the important thing. The
That's
nice little toy attached to the top of the slide is what's the important thing. So
We are empty, just so we can see.
yep.
Don't shoot at
Nice.
people.
But
Oh, that
Nice.
I like those
Okay.
grips.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
In a 1911, and in
Hold it
90
up,
and-
Travis.
or 45.
no, it's 45. He actually
Oh,
messed
good.
up. He actually messed up, to be honest with you. He gave me one in 9mm, and I got home. I started loading 45, and I was like, I'm gonna pull the barrel out, double check, make sure everything fits right. And I was like, this is a 9mm. I did not want a 9mm, so I took it back and was like, Larry, I wanted a 45. So
Yep.
he just
That's a
he did
costly
that.
mistake for Larry, unless you bought it from him.
Yeah, I
Oh,
bought
yeah.
it from him. And then of course I always have to have a red dot.
Yeah,
So
nice.
see, there's his
very
his
nice.
logo. Mike has had some work done on
Some
one of
work done.
his canics,
Yep.
and then I'm impressed that if he ever shows it again, how small and intricate some of the stuff can get.
Very nice. I
So,
love
Yeah.
the lightning cuts in it too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that bull barrel, or has it got
No.
a no? Okay.
No.
See, that was God's caliber. That's a God gun. Okay.
Anyway,
I'm going
so
to mute you, Mr. Nelson, if we keep that up.
the good news is Primary Arms carries parts for both the staple gun and the John Moses Browning brainchild. So there you go. But he's quite the little ham. Anybody got any shout outs?
No.
Yes, I do. Let me find it. Rich Lindeck, Ezekiel Goodwin, and Mark Joff. Or Jeff Mark, I'm sorry. Anyway, those gentlemen were kind enough to ask me for the ladder load spreadsheet. Mike took care of the other guy, Trail Boy or Trail Boss, whatever his name was, and Ryan Bartholo. Those gentlemen were kind enough to ask for a copy of the spreadsheet, so we made sure they got a copy. And if you do get a copy, I strongly recommend the copy I give you or Mike gives you, you duplicate that. Never touch the one the original you were given. And always work with the other one.
Well, Jim, the way I've got it set up, so when I share it, is they cannot put data in it. They have to make a copy.
Oh, okay. So you share it so they view it.
Yep. Yeah, I've got it set up as a Google Doc, so when I share it, it's shared as a view only, and they have to make a copy to be able to use it. So
Ah, good idea. I think I should do that myself. Share it as a view item only.
And
So, Mike, are you gonna take the screen off of this awesome mustache, or are you
no,
gonna leave it on
I'm
there?
just reveling in the stash. I mean, it's just so freaking amazing. We just all had to check it out.
The man grew a beard and has had a beard for the last 5 years. It's like he's going to have a mustache over top the beard.
All right.
I got a quick one here, guys. This is to the lady in West Virginia who put down a criminal with a
Yep.
AR-15, and
Nice.
the thing is that I'm going to say is carry. You never know when you're gonna have to use it. Okay, to defend yourself, your family.
Yep.
You know, because no one else has said a word about what she did. But boy, we sure heard about the cowards down in Texas who had to wait an hour for them to go into the fucking school. Okay.
Yep.
So, you know, how brave those officers were and all that kind of crap. I got a fucking woman here that, and pardon my language, guys, I'm sorry, but I got a woman here that went and took care of business without all the fanfare and everything else and BS. And I'm just madder than piss at the thin blue line that we call our our heroes.
Are you trying to say the lady's got bigger balls than those men did?
You got it, sir. You got it.
Two
There
thumbs
you
up,
go.
Mr. Nelson. I may twist your balls for 1911 and 45 ACP and 40 in Glock. But you know what? Me and you are on the same page. We all on the same page.
So,
You know,
not only carry, but practice.
Amen to that.
Practice drawing, practice shooting. If you are lucky enough to have a gun range where they will let you draw and shoot, practice that.
practice in your home.
Yep. Dry fire is huge.
Unload the gun, holster it, practice concealed carry from with the sweater on, with a shirt on, a jacket on, however you're going to carry, practice so you can deal with however you do it.
Yep.
You know?
If you get one of the various training programs, whether you get for crying out loud, just absolute brain fart at the current second. Nick, what was the one that I brought down?
Mantis.
Yeah, so if you get the Mantis, the nice thing is you can actually draw and shoot with that too, because with the dry fire, with the Mantis setup, it will give you that ability to be able to do that. So.
Yeah, I do something kind of interesting. Every so often, I'll put post-it notes on my room in different rooms in my house, and they'll go for say 3 or 4 days. And I'm like, okay, it's time. And what I'll do is I'll shut all the lights off, take both my handgun, my nightstand gun that's got a weapon light on it, and my AR nightstand gun, and I'll go through the house pitch black and try to find those post-it notes. Just using my light, especially nighttime stuff, is hard to work in the house. Especially waking up, say 2 o'clock in the morning, you don't know your surroundings that well. So,
Yep. And there's people that'll use the Manus X program to actually do that as a nighttime practice. They'll have either a noise to wake them up, or they'll set an alarm to wake up. They'll dodge the kid trying to pick their nose, and then they'll do their training in the middle of the night out of a dead sleep. So, but yeah, swing over to Manus X, check them out. They've got lots of different training options. The Laser Academy is the one I'm talking about. That's the big one to use. That you can just put the laser insert in your whatever gun and draw on fire. So Ashcan asked if are you all with USCCA? I actually am with Second Call Defense, but that's another thing. There's basically three main ones. I don't remember the third one, but it's the one that
I think it's U.S. Law Shield, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah. So there's U.S. Law Shield, there's U.S. Concealed Carry Association, and Second Call Defense are the three main ones out there. Make sure you do your homework and check them out. But they all provide different various options for you in the event that you are in a shoot. So, but
check them out. Really go through it, because there's a couple of them out there that are really awful.
Yep.
So
or there's catches involved. So, and above all else, get training, lots of training. You don't know what you don't know. And I'm borrowing this from Masad Ayub, who has the MAG series, Masad Ayub group training. You don't know what you don't know. If you don't get concealed carry training that focuses on the law part of it for your particular state, or maybe even your particular city, you may think in your mind it's a good shoot, and the next thing you're facing 15 to 25 for murder one. So
Illinois is good for that.
There's a lot of stupid laws out there. So, and you got to know them. So, do you have a duty to retreat or not? That's one of the big ones. So that's where you need that state-based or city-based training. It's out there. Sometimes you got to look for it. Sometimes it's not the best. But there's also quite a few national programs. Masad Ayub Group, there's Shoot Right Academy, there's Tiger McKee's. Magnabbit. So anyway, there's a lot of good academies out there that'll do your actual shooting portion of the program, as well as the legal stuff. So as GGW just reloading just said, as they say, just because you own a piano doesn't make you a musician. Nope. Just because you got firearms doesn't mean you can actually use them very well.
Or use them the right way.
Yeah. If you think you can, the bottom line is, if you think you can just take your gun out of the safe or take it wherever it's sitting and start shooting and be accurate, that's not true. If you think I'm telling you a falsehood, go back and look at law enforcement ammunition expenditures during events. These are people, men and women, that train to shoot and sometimes train to shoot under stressful conditions, and their accuracy isn't very good at all. So,
if you want to learn to shoot accurately under stress, go to a competition. It's the best thing you can do.
Oh yeah. Travis,
go shoot.
How much better have you gotten? A little bit? Well, there's only so much you can do with it. Anyway.
Shoot in a competition. Get a timer and shoot. If you're thinking you're doing so well, put a timer on yourself. See how good you are.
Paul, shooting competitions will get you killed in the streets.
Shooting the competitions trying to get you used to the stress. Okay.
Oh no, he's saying that it's a line that's the antis use and dumb people use. So, yeah, definitely competition does lend itself to improving you. So, but let's wrap this puppy up. So, because we could go on about training and shooting and stuff all
Hey,
night
if you
long.
guys really want the biggest stress, take your wife with you to the shooting range. Have her behind you yelling at you about stuff you've done for the last 20 years as you're trying to shoot a target, beating on pots and pans. And if you can get past that, you're golden. You can handle
There you go.
anything.
So, alrighty, gang. On that note, keep your brass shiny.
Jump on the Milsurp short bus.
Not a matter of if, but when.
Despite what your mama told you, violence does solve problems.
Support the Second Amendment all the way with the 2A.
Indeed. Remember, if you're struggling, folks, there's help. 1-800-273-8255. Reach out, get some help. It is a strength to reach out and get help, not a weakness.
Hey, do y'all remember that time when Jim's wife beat him on camera?
Which time? There's actually been a couple. You missed one of them.
Oh, dang. What's wrong with your finger, Jim?
Kind of crooked.
Arthritis setting in?
Pointed right at you. Travis, good seeing you on the show, bud.
You too,
Yes,
Jim.
indeed.
Pain in the ass.
Very nice to have you again back.